Hey everybody.
Good morning.
Hey, how you doing? It's Wednesday, May 8th. Is it?
No,
Is it
it's
actually?
Thursday.
Shit. It's
You
Thursday,
idiot.
May 9th. Fuck that up. Welcome to the episode, season 2, episode... God damn it. I'm the worst. Welcome to season 2, episode 3, List Point, a podcast and website serving up music discussion, news, show and album reviews, and more. My name is Jordan Kaufman, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Billy Gatewin.
Hello.
And Mr. Paul Cole.
Hi.
Back from the edge?
Yeah.
Proud of you.
I'm
glad you
do a
pulled
lot of
through.
YouTube shows
I'm glad you pulled
over
through.
the years.
And speaking of YouTube, we're going to get into what we've been listening to. And that encompasses the best, worst, good, noteworthy, mediocre, important, and consequential, sometimes album-related shows, singles, and new releases of the week. And first on this list, I have shows. And my wife, Sarah, and I went to go see Iron and Wine at the Kennedy Center, which is, if you're unfamiliar, is a gigantic, fancy music venue in D.C. that typically hosts, like, the NSO, the National Symphony Orchestra, and, like, plays and musicals and stuff like that. But the NSO actually invited Iron and Wine to come through and play a set full of his hits. Endless Numbered Days is his record from 15 years ago. Or 10 years ago that came out, and he's celebrating an anniversary, so they learned all these songs to play with him, and a couple newer ones, and he played a set with the NSO, and it was really cool. It was exactly what you would expect it to be. It was very cool to see those songs with like a full string arrangement, just because that album is just him and a guitar in a room, and like how humbling and how funny he was just an added bonus. It was hard because it was during the week and the music's very sleepy, so I was like getting tired like halfway through. But he played 2 sets. He did one with the orchestra and then one by himself with a couple backup singers. And it's just very cool, very neat experience, and something that I'm definitely thankful that I got to see. And up next we have our singles. First, Modest Mouse, I'm Still Here. It's a weird one.
It was a good one, though.
You liked it?
Yeah, I did like it.
Okay.
Which I
just-
can go either way with Modest Mouse.
I didn't.
but-
Are you into them at all?
No, not really.
No. Okay. Mr. Paul.
I like the earlier albums. It's actually, how recently was Miss the Boat? That was pretty far back now, right?
Miss the Boat. Is it the blue one? The blue cover?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I think that was 2 records ago.
Yeah.
I think, or at least 1 record
But
ago.
in general, I've always found their writing style kind of interesting.
Sure.
As I understand it, Napoleon Murphy Brock, their frontman's kind of just the guy who writes all the music. But I'll probably say the same thing everyone else will say when they hear this track. It just doesn't, it's not the exact same sound. They're going for something new, has a really heavy 70s vibe.
Yeah, it's super upbeat and like not like the weird, watery Modest Mouse that I'm used to. But I kind of dug it. It was kind of cool. It's neat to see them doing something different. So.
It's for sure enough to get me to check out the rest of the album.
Yeah, which I'm assuming is on the way. They haven't announced anything. So next we have Flying Lotus, new album in 2 weeks. Just dropped MorMor featuring Anderson Paak, the god himself. Of the 3 teaser tracks that we listened to, this one was my favorite. I think my only issue with it is that it just sounds like an Anderson Paak track, which is fine. It's very, very good, but it doesn't sound like Flying Lotus. So I'm very curious to see how it fits in with the album. But the track itself is very good. Just if you like Anderson Paak, you'll probably like this track.
But the important thing is it sounds like a good Anderson Paak track.
Yes, that's very true. It sounds, it's got like, if anything, it's got amazing Philo production, which, you can't ask for better. This next one is very surprised by Alexisonfire, however you want to call it, track Familiar Drugs. I heard about and listened to Alexisonfire probably 15 years ago when I was in high school, freshman year of high school. And this is not the band that I thought it was.
Nope.
I like loaded up the track. I was like, oh, sweet. A metalcore band coming back from their prime. This will surely be good. And I was very surprised. I liked it. Did anyone else like it?
I think you guys liked it a little bit more than I did. and it wasn't at all what I was expecting.
No,
and now
not at
I feel
all.
like I don't even know if I'm thinking of like the right band.
We may not be, honestly.
But we are, because they were definitely like a post-hardcore band back in like the early 2000s, and this is just not what I remember them sounding like at all.
Styles change and develop. I have never heard of this band before, but I really like this single.
Yeah,
So,
I'm stoked to hear the album. If there is one, they haven't really announced anything, but it's definitely got like a grimy Glassjaw kind of vibe to it, which I really was into. And next, Mannequin Pussy, Drunk 2. I saw them open for Turnover last year, a couple years ago, and was not a fan. But this track I liked quite a bit.
This track is pretty good. It's way poppier than I was expecting from them.
Yeah. Because have you heard their records before?
I checked them out when they were touring with Turnover because
Okay.
we didn't know we weren't going to be here for that
Sure.
show, or I didn't know I was going to be here. So I checked them out just to see if I would be interested in going to the show to see them, and
Right.
don't remember liking it at all.
Yeah, I think it's very different.
I thought it was more like punky.
Yeah, what I saw on stage was like very aggressive and very kind of raw, which is, I admire a lot usually. I just wasn't really gelling with it. But this track is kind of hits a lot of the notes for me, where it's like very loud. The production's like very maximalized, but the song it's like pretty much a pop song, kind of like a pop grunge kind of feel to it. Mr. Stormzy is back. Vossi Bop.
Yes.
This fucking beat is so good. Like, I would be fine with anyone on it. I think Stormzy sells it, though, and I think we kind of got into this a little bit about how... Do both of you not like grime or British rap, whatever you want to call it? Or is it just Paul?
It's not that I don't like it. I
Okay.
just don't normally get along with it that well.
Sure.
It doesn't do as much for me.
That's fair. I haven't been able to like nail down like a group of artists that I enjoy, so I look forward to kind of using this as like a jumping off point, because I'm assuming there will be features on it and good shit. But this track
like I was telling you, it sounded kind of like Lotus London.
Okay.
I used to listen to back in like around 2010, I guess.
Sure.
I don't know if he's still big over there or whatever, but that's kind of what it reminded me of.
Yeah, it's a solid track. And
Cool video too.
yeah, it's a fun. It kind of reminds me of it's shot in the same way that the Kendrick Lamar track was from a couple of years ago. Be Humble.
Yeah.
It feels very, very in that vein. It's a fun video. This next one I'm probably gonna butcher the name, but it's Ceu de Venus or Ceu de Venus. Track is called Memes. It's a Brazilian math rock band. Which, if you're into Covet or you're into that sort of thing, this is definitely up your alley. I think saying it's exactly like Covet is selling it a little bit short.
No, and it's not. It's just it's mathy and it has
Yeah.
similar instrumentation.
I think they have a nice fluidity to their style that is very nice. And there's like a cool guitar solo, which I wasn't expecting. Just kind of waiting. I just assumed the track was just kind of gonna repeat and kind of unfurl for a little while. So yeah, it was
If
neat.
anybody's wondering what
Track.
they do sound like, they sound just like Covet. Just if anybody's curious.
Okay, Billy.
Look at this cheeky bastard.
And next we have Claud. If I were you, very surprised by this track.
Yeah.
Which is dumb because the only reason I'm surprised is because Billy's sending it. The name is Claud, which I was like, I'm pretty sure that's like an electronic producer or something. And then we loaded it up and it's like this cute little like acoustic track, but then the chorus kicks in and it's like rad.
Yeah.
Like, it's really cool, like little plinky synths like here and there, and then really driving bass. Like the bass is super loud. I'm into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of just your typical like bedroom pop song, but it just really grooves.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. The production was really nice.
Yeah.
You know if there's an album at all?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
Yeah, I
'cause
think she's
this
only
is
put
really
out
good.
like a little short, like 4 or 5 song EP.
Okay.
And then she's put out like 2 or 3 singles recently.
Sweet.
So hopefully it's working towards an album.
Alrighty. And lastly, sleeper
Man,
favorite.
Can't believe this
Sleeper
snuck in.
favorite.
This was not on the list 5 minutes ago.
It's funny because you were like, I wonder if this is just how the Midnight's gonna work forever. Is Billy tells me about a new Midnight track, and if he doesn't like it, apparently that means I'm gonna like it. Which you don't hate it.
No, I don't hate it.
You were
And
just
I was just
surprised
like,
at
I
the direction.
didn't feel any need to put it on the list, and I just wanted you guys to hear it just because we talk about them
Sure.
so much, and just wanted to see what your guys' thoughts were. And then both of you seemed to kind of enjoy it and wanted to add it. So
As
I was
a
like,
noted
all right.
vaporwave fan, it kind of checked all the boxes.
Yeah.
Without being like too weird or like too memey. Like I think it was still a solid pop track at the core. And granted, we didn't listen to the whole 6 minutes of it, but I thought we listened to it develop, and I thought that's a good track.
Yeah,
I liked it.
What I've been kind of describing it as is it's got Deadmau5's typical side chaining and kick, along with his like typical synth like attack decay.
Yes,
and then it's for Tyler's vocals. It's not a vocal heavy track, and it's kind of got like a Daft Punk vocoder type.
Mm-hmm. And it's I don't think it wears out its welcome either.
No,
it's just kind of like a
pretty
quick,
short. Yeah,
and it's just a really good like. I think it's a good cinematic track too, which I think I've noted before. Like his instrumental stuff has always been, I think, stronger to me than the vocal stuff. So I'm excited to see what this album sounds like.
Yeah,
if it's more of this or what it is.
He said it would be very emo.
Okay,
that's how he described it.
Hey, I'm okay with emo.
It's pretty good. I just learned about vaporwave, and it has nothing to do with vaping. And so,
no,
did I
it
help?
does not. It ironically has to do with vaping, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, shout outs. I'm going to run through mine real quick. New Lizzo album came out a couple weeks ago, 'Cause I Love You. It's amazing. You need to do yourself a favor, check it out. She, I think, gives Cardi B a run for her money in the sense that, like, this is a one-woman show that can do everything. She can rap. I guess Cardi B doesn't really sing or can't sing, but Lizzo actually can.
Hey now. Hey now.
Sorry. Lizzo can actually sing very well.
Yeah.
She has I can do the hooks, I can do the verses, I can write, I can produce.
Yeah.
She does everything. And she fucking sells it. It's such a good album. This next album, Blood by Kelsey Lu, one that I was looking forward to probably more than most albums that I've heard about.
I was really
coming out
excited
year.
for this.
Not a ton like her single that we fell in love with, Due West, last year. I was really hoping for more like that. It seems to be deeply conceptual and a little weird, which I'm kind of into. It's grown on me over time. It's not immediately accessible like Due West was.
Yeah,
which is disappointing for sure.
It was, and it's still good, so I don't want to take anything away from it. But I was expecting.
It won't be like
Due West, and I just
if there was more
anything like it.
If there was more like Due West, I think it would have been one of my runaway favorites for this year. I think it'll still be on my list, but I'm with you. And last, Plastic Jazz by Legrand, just this fucking tight, naughty mess of a monster math rock album of like two dueling guitars that are just constantly going at it, and then bass and drums, and it's like insane jazz drumming, and it like on paper it sounds like a mess, but I adore this record. Like it's so good, and the playing is just so tight. I don't think I've ever heard it this tight in a long time, and I think the production complements it as well. And
just more shout outs?
No. Well, I guess yours are up next.
Wow, am I,
Mr.
do I not
Mr.
count?
Yeah, of course.
This is one I think Paul and I both agree on, but to steal term from... Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, to
I like
steal
this
term
record
from you, Indie Darlings, local natives put out Violet Street, and it's kind of a return to form from their earlier stuff, and it's really good.
Yeah, I think it really depends for me. Like sometimes I really love it, and sometimes I like really like the high points and then don't really like the low points. And I think it's a slower album. It's not as like bouncy as some of their.
What I
older
notice
stuff.
is the drums aren't as creative and like you said, bouncy all over the place. His drumming kind of mellowed out and it's pretty straightforward, and it just kind of drives the track instead of adding a lot of texture to it, which may take away a little bit, but
that's fair.
Doesn't take away from the hipster indie folk vibe.
It's true.
Nothing can take away from that.
Nothing can take that away.
It's true.
It's really good though.
That fucking "When I'm Gonna Lose You" track is so
it's
good.
so
it's a lead single,
good.
so you can't miss it.
It's so good.
Super catchy.
Yeah.
And I think Megaton Mile is also very good. That's the other, I think, single. Definitely giving me like Tame Impala vibes, like really strong bass that the whole track is centered around. So
yeah, very
cool.
good, very good.
And next,
and MorMor had a follow-up EP, Someplace Else, and just wanted to point it out because he kind of blew up with that EP.
Yeah.
By last year,
I think so.
And
Yeah, that sounds right.
This EP is good, but I don't think it's as quality as his last one. None of the tracks really stood out like some of the tracks on the last one.
It didn't gel with me. Like
yeah,
I really
it's just
wanted it to be, because I loved parts of his EP last year. I was
Yeah.
like, this dude has a ton of potential.
He
Like,
does
I
have a
can
ton of
see it.
potential, which is kind of why it's disappointing. Because like he doesn't need to do a whole lot to sound
Yeah.
good.
And I like his style too.
Yeah, but it was almost he just didn't do nearly enough to like
Yes.
even make it interesting.
Yes, for sure. And with that, shout outs done. Moving into new releases. Mr. Billy, want to tell us what you got?
Sure.
What you got on the docket?
So my new release for this week is a folk rock type band, Bear's Den. The album's called "So That You Might Hear Me." And when I say folk rock, I mean there are very small elements that you would hear in like a Mumford type album, but it's very different. It's got a lot of cool guitar work on it, a lot of cool guitar tones.
Yes.
It's got some cool layered synth that's not like obnoxious, but really adds a cool texture to the stuff.
textural, yeah.
His vocals are good. It's like kind of what you would expect from a folky rock band, but mixed with that like Southern Atlanta, like Manchester, all get out type vibe.
Yeah.
So he's got some rawness there that I really like in his voice. And it's just kind of your typical like singer-songwriter type vocals and real emotive, and gets loud when he wants to get loud and sings softly when he needs to. And
Yeah, I think I want to spend more time with it just because like I'd never heard of them before.
me
I think I
neither.
was
They've got like 3 or
mistaking-
4 albums
I
out.
think I mistaken them with Bear Ghost or Bear Tooth. There's a metalcore band.
Yeah.
That one of those, and then the other one's like progressive rock. So I
Yeah.
was like, I thought this was going to be different. It's good. I think it's very different. Like you said, the guitars I think were the thing that stood out the most
Yeah.
to me. It's like the guitars were super interesting that I wasn't expecting.
No, exactly.
Especially from like a duo. I just expected it to be like simple bedroom poppy kind of stuff. Like lots of just layered synths.
Yeah, no, it's
and
got
just
some
vocals.
like good like anthemic like stadium style like hooks to
That's
it.
cool.
But also some really good acoustic.
Yeah, he
parts.
definitely writes out of his league, I think. Like it feels like the songs are made with a bigger budget than they probably actually are. So.
There you have it. Tasteful synth from
Yeah.
Billy.
Tasteful synth.
Tasteful amount.
That's right.
Speaking of tasteful, my new release.
What's your new release and why is it so tasty?
It's not actually that tasty. Father
No,
of
it's
Bride,
not.
Vampire Weekend.
God, it's awful.
I liked some
Sorry, you
tracks.
start. It's your
not-
album. You start.
it's
My
not
fault. My fault. My fault. I
It's
didn't mean to
not
step in.
awful.
Dude,
I don't. I liked it on my first listen, and then progressively liked it less the more I listened to it.
Okay.
I don't think it's a great album by any means. There are a handful of tracks that I really enjoy. It's particularly the ones that you would find on the radio already. This Life, Harmony Hall, are really good saccharine sweet pop tracks. Just typical Vampire Weekend stuff. There are 2 vocalists featured on the record. Daniel Haim, who I think is completely wasted.
Yeah.
Well, I say wasted. I don't know that she is like... I like Haim. Let me get that out of the way. I don't know that she is like oh shit, this is Danielle from Haim. Like, I don't know that she draws enough interest.
And she's on what, like 3 tracks?
Yeah, 3 or 4. Or is like wildly different enough to be...
Doesn't fit that style.
I don't think so. And they... Like, I'm not saying it has to be Taylor Swift, but like I think brings someone to the table that sounds more unique if you want a feature out of her, right? The other feature on the record is Steve Lacy, who is a guitarist for The Internet, band called The Internet. And I love his tracks. I think his tracks are very good. His style totally overwrites Vampire Weekend style, though. So it doesn't sound like a Vampire Weekend track anymore. It just kind of sounds like Steve Lacy with Vampire Weekend, which I like the track Sunflower quite a bit. I think it's very different for them. It's very like 70s and kind of psychedelic and a little out there, but it's not Vampire Weekend, so it's totally understandable why somebody would like that. Yeah, the rest of the album is just super inconsistent. A lot of weird filler tracks, and it's a double album, but it clocks in at less than an hour, which is nice, but they don't make that hour worth it still, even though it's not, it doesn't, it feels overly long, even though it's not actually that long. So yeah, I was just really disappointed.
After my first listen, I brought this question to you, and I want to bring it back up.
Yeah?
Which is worse? Vampire Weekend's album cover or Vampire Weekend's album?
Definitely album cover.
It's still okay.
And
you still
I
feel
say
that way?
that because I hate when bands put the fucking label imprint
Sony.
on the front of the record. Like Sony Records had this big hand in this fucking record, or like their band's doing it ironically. Like, no, it's fucking stupid. It
With
looks
a
like
fifth grade
trash.
picture of the world.
Yeah, like somebody drew their album art in like fucking MS Paint or some shit. I don't know. Whatever.
How many bands do you think have a track called Sunflower?
At least 30.
Because this is completely off topic, but Amon Amarth came out with a new album, and I saw one of the tracks was called "Crack the Sky." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Nice.
Metal fans have never heard that before.
Was it a cover? No.
No, it was not.
Fair enough. So yeah, favorite tracks: This Life, Harmony Hall, Sunflower, related artists: Group Love, Cold War Kids, and Rah Rah Riot. That's Vampire Weekend, Father of the Bride. Now let's get into some good shit, Billy.
Yeah, enough of that
Let's
terrible
jump
shit.
into it. Let's
do
fucking
it.
get into it.
Let's
Album of the
do it.
week. I loved your record this week.
Really?
I did.
And this is so surprising.
It's very
What a weird
surprising
week.
because you recommended all these things, and I'm like, I'm probably not gonna like half of these, and I liked almost all of them.
Yeah.
Actually,
Awesome.
I liked all of them. Everything that you sent me.
Yeah,
So-
Very
came in
cool.
here with bile, talking shit, and he's enjoyed every one of the things you brought to the table.
I love it. I love
true.
it. So
What
my
you got,
album
Billy?
of the week is Barrie, a new indie kind of breezy ambient dream pop band debut album. I don't even think they put out an EP, to be honest.
But don't touch that dial. It's not bad dream pop. It's good dream
I
pop.
mean, most dream pop's good dream pop. Okay.
You like Beach House. Your opinion's invalidated.
Ha, garbage.
Wow.
Got him.
Wow.
Got him. I'm probably the only
look-
person
yeah.
that thinks that. So anyway, sorry.
Album's called Happy to Be Here, and I just it's cool. It's nice and breezy. It's not overly it's not overly done. I would say it's not
I
like
think it's not my favorite thing about it is that it's not washed out.
Yeah.
Like they didn't go in the studio and they're like, let's just fucking put reverb on everything.
Right.
We're gonna make it sound emo as fuck and like you're in your room. Like I think they really put time and effort into making everything stand out.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and it's got a more indie vibe, I think, than a pop vibe. It's
Yes.
kind of got a really cool. I almost want to compare it to Parcels, that like French indie band that we talked about not too long ago.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Kind of sounds like that. It's not. It's more on that like indie funk vibe than it is that like blasted full like synth dream pop that
Yes.
a lot of people are doing now.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I think
that was cool.
Instrumentation, I think, is my favorite part about the record.
Yeah,
Like,
the vocals are.
I think the vocals fit. I don't want anything else. They're not my favorite part, but
She could do a little bit more.
sure.
Like, and
she
it could
sounds
stand out a
uninterested.
little bit more. But it just blends in as another instrument almost. It's not at the
True.
forefront at all.
Very true.
Which if I could, I would maybe have her do a little bit with it and make it stand out. But
Yeah,
overall, it's
I think they did a solid job.
Yeah.
It's a great record. Speaking of great records,
oh man, oh
the
jeez,
Mountain Goats out with a new album, baby. In League with Dragons, both literally and metaphorically about dragons and wizards, actually. I'm just going to say this now. If you don't like the Mountain Goats, you're probably not going to like this record. It's not, they're not
Amen.
doing anything different. It's very Mountain Goats. I think they've changed their production style, and I think their songwriting is very, very good on this record. I found myself getting more attached to this record than I have a Mountain Goats record in a while, which I must say. And I think it's because of the different songwriting, like the very diverse songwriting that John Darnielle, the frontman and singer and everything, comes to the table with. Like they do some country tracks on here. They do a really cool like anthemic 80s rock song called Sicilian Crest. Just like a lot of good mix of things without without being not the Mountain Goats. So yeah, I'm really into it.
It's kind of amazing at this point if you look at their back catalog, because Darnielle's style, the imagery still seems so personal, even when it's a little bit of it's a little ridiculous
for sure.
But he continues to write songs that are good, and they actually write these cohesive albums that have a theme.
Yeah. It's I love I really, this is another record this year that I really want to sit down with more and just kind of take in, just because I love his lyricism and I love the way he tells stories. Like every time I sit down with one of his records, I want to buy his books just because I love his storytelling, and I love the kind of what he tells stories about. Like this record is like I said earlier, both loosely about fake Dungeons and Dragons wizards, and also about like real life wizards that he names as Ozzy Osbourne, Doc Gooden, and Waylon Jennings, the country star, which is a very John Darnielle thing. But I love this record. I think it's really, really good, and just a lot of stuff to be uncovered per usual. Favorite tracks: In League with Dragons, Younger, and Doc Gooden. Related artists: Decemberist, Neutral Milk Hotel, and Ockerville River. And that is In League with Dragons by the Mountain Goats. And
an album that's actually scaly.
It's true. It's very scaly. Mr. Paul, do you want to give us what you got?
I mean, if I must, I could talk a bit.
Well, you're already here. You might as well.
Yeah, I was just stopping through.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Jade Bird by the artist Jade Bird. So, singer-songwriter from England. Really interesting sound, even though it sounds like an amalgam of a bunch of singers I really love.
Sure.
I think Billy had pointed out it's got kind of a 90s songwriter sound, which is true, like especially when she's really going for it, kind of really projecting with the voice. But there's these other kind of flavors in there. She's almost got kind of a Nashville twang, but not all the way. She's got a little bit of that Janis Joplin kind of edge of breakup, gravel on the edge of the voice type thing, but not all the way there.
Yeah, not obnoxious. Yeah.
Yeah, and when I say country, it's not like she sounds like Loretta Lynn. It's kind of more subtle.
Yeah, she's got a lilt to her voice that is like, I think makes it really endearing and like honest in that like Nashville country kind of singer-songwriter songs are.
And then the album itself, it's really interesting because the instrumentation's simple, but with a small, like 3 or 4 piece band, I really like what they do with a lot of the intros. It's often really percussive, just moving between the drums and the guitar and the bass. A little bit less typical of what I'm used to with this kind of a songwriter style. Yeah. So definitely recommend checking it out. I think she could be a pretty big thing.
I hope so. This is a special record.
I think she started getting noticed maybe 2017, 2018.
Okay.
I know she's been on the Colbert show.
Oh, nice. No, I did not know that. Okay. Cool.
But yeah, check it out. Jade Bird.
Good for her. That's it. That's all she wrote. Cool. Congratulations. Thanks for staying. Thanks for sitting it through, duking it out. If you're curious about the singles and albums we talked about today, as usual, there will be a playlist up on the site containing all the singles and the best tracks from this week's albums. That website, if you weren't sure already, is bliss.house, bliss.hus. And definitely check us out on all the places, social media, Twitter, whatever. Like, subscribe, do all the nice things, leave good comments, take care of yourselves, please. And one last time, visit bliss.house, bliss.hus for all of our content. Thanks, everybody.
Corporate shill.